Hello, audience members out there in computer land, and welcome to today's episode of the Decimal of the Day show. You will see that I am dressed in bear attire. I have on my bear hat, and I have a German Shepherd dog named Bear. And here's Bear on my shirt. So, our show is taped daily inside of Matthew's old bedroom. Now, Matthew's my son who's all grown up now, and I've turned his old bedroom into my office. So, if you're wondering what this picture is right here that you can see, it's a rabbit that he drew when he was in first grade, and it was in kindergarten, and it was in the art show. So, it's still there on the wall. So, that's what you're seeing a little bit of a shadow of. I know that there is no one out there who is a bump on a pickle. And I know that you all have your math journal and your paper and pencil ready. So here is our decimal of the day. You need to say it. And then I want you to write it down in word form. Push pause and we'll be right back. Now let's see how you did. I'm looking at the whole number and I see 13. So I'm going to write down 13. We know the decimal point says and. So now I'm looking at my decimal's first name. And of course we know that's just the number we see, which is 790. That's what I'm going to write down. Now I have to figure out the decimal's last name, which of course is the value of the last place value spot. You've probably already memorized and know that it goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths, so the zero's in the thousandths place. You may need to look back on your place value reference chart. That's okay. And then there's also the trick that I taught you where you put a 1 over the ones place. Fill in above the other digits with a 0. When you look above, you see the number 1000. That means that last digit is in the thousandths place. How many of you got it right? If you got it right, you have won a day of getting to do school from home. Isn't that fabulous? The next thing I want you to do is to push pause and write this in expanded form. I know you've already taken care of that and you've come back to check your answer. So, in the tens place I have a 1. So I'm going to write 1 times 10. In the ones place, I have a 3. 3 times 1. I have that 7 in the tenths place. Notice the placement of these parentheses. That's one goal that I had for some of you to work on. Plus, we have a 9 in the 100ths place. And I don't really have any value there in the thousands place. So do I really need to put 0 times 1000? No, I can just leave it off. Now what I want you to do is I want you to write this number. Draw a line. Write this number. Draw a line. Write this number. Draw a line. In this one, I want you to round to the nearest whole number. Here I want you to round to the nearest tenth. And here I want you to round to the nearest hundredth. Push pause and take time to do that for me, please. Okay, now you should be back. I'm going to need some help helping me round these numbers. So I'm going to be talking to the bear on my head. Okay, bear on my head.
Hey everybody out there in computer land. I'm a bear on Mrs. Salyer's head. I'm going to help round these numbers. I think the first thing you need to do is to circle the digit you're rounding to.
He's exactly right. So in this one, I'm rounding to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to circle that 3. Okay, so Big Black Bear, what am I going to do next?
The next thing you need to do is underline the neighbor.
Okay. So there's a little rhyme that we do, Black Bear, and the rhyme says if it's 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest. This is 5 or more, which means that 3 can only do one of 2 things: stay the same or raise up to the next digit. Because it's 5 or more, it's going to raise up, and everything behind it is going to drop off. On this next one, we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So we're going to circle the digit in the tenths place. Look at the neighbor. The neighbor is 5 or more. Raise the score, which means this 7 can do one of 2 things. It's either going to stay a 7 or it's going to raise up to the next digit. Because this is 5 or more, we're going to raise it up, and everything after it drops off. In this one, we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to circle the digit in the hundredths place. We're going to underline the neighbor. It's definitely 4 or less, which means we're going to give it a rest. That 9 can do one of 2 things. It can stay a 9 or it can bump up to a 10. It's going to stay a 9. I keep everything before it, and everything after it drops off. Today I'm going to add a problem for you, and I want you to do an addition problem. 13 and 790 thousandths plus 321 thousandths equal. Push pause and work this problem out. When you have finished, unpause and we'll check it together. Okay, I'm glad you're back. Let me move that down so we can see a little bit better. This is written horizontally. That means across. In order to solve it, I need to write it vertically, up and down. And the number 1 rule when you're adding or subtracting decimals is to line the decimals up. So I'm just going to come over here where I have room. Remember, the only time that I ever allow you to give a put down, if we were in the classroom, you can say this only when you're talking to a decimal, because it's sitting there and it's saying, nah, 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 I'm going to mess you up. So you're going to tell it to shut up and come down. Okay, Black Bear, can you talk me through what to do? Okay.
0 plus 1 is 1. 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry that 1. 3 plus 7 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Carry that 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. And you have 14 and 111 thousandths.
Okay, you do, and I've kind of got that one floating up in the air, so let me fix that a little bit. That looks a little bit better. Now I'm really going to throw you something difficult, because all of you out there, my kids from Johnson, my kids from Jefferson, my kids from Lincoln, my kids from Jackson, my kids from Roosevelt, and my kids from Washington, all of you are math geniuses. So I'm going to have you subtract one for me. So I want you to write on your paper 13 and 790 thousandths minus 9 and 64 hundredths. Pause and work this problem out, and we'll see how you do. Okay, I am glad you're back. It's written horizontally. Remember, we need to write it vertically, and the number 1 rule when you're adding and subtracting decimals is to line those decimals up. So I'm going to come over here. If I have a missing digit, does anyone out there remember what we do? Oh, wow. Woo! I'm hearing all kinds of you say, put in a 0. You are exactly correct. And it's subtracting. Okay, Black Bear, you going to help me?
0 minus 0. Oh, wait. Shut up and come down.
Good job, Black Bear.
0 minus 0 is 0. 9 minus 4 is 5. 7 minus 6 is 1. Oh, you can't take 9 away from 3 unless you're doing negative numbers. You're going to have to regroup. 9 minus 13 is 4.
Okay. Black Bear did a good job, and your answer, can you see it there? Okay. Is 4 and 150 thousandths. Good job, Black Bear. Let me ask you a question. How would I read this number if I just took that off? 4 and 15 hundredths. So 4 and 15 hundredths is the same as 4 and 150 thousandths. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to compare it. So I want you to write the number down. I want you to put the circle for your inequality symbol. And I know all of you out there are saying, oh, Miss Salyer, that is so lame. Everybody knows that 14 is more than 13. And you're right, it is a whole number. But if I wanted to do the procedure that I've taught you, hang on, I'm going to erase because you should already have that copied down. I would write them vertically. And I can't tell anything from the 1, but when I look in the 1's place, I know that 4 is more. So I would have the alligator eating the bigger number. And I would say 13 and 790 thousandths is less than 14. So, I hope that you have enjoyed today's version of the Decimal of the Day show. I hope to see you again next time. Same channel, same station. Or if you're out there in the audience, make sure to get your tickets early because you sure don't want to miss a single episode of the Decimal of the Day.